Hello, hello, hello. Good morning and welcome to the Dreams to Keys Realty channel. I am Jalon Strong, the Essential Millennial Realtor of Dreams to Keys Realty. I am on YouTube as well as TikTok this morning. So I'm looking at YouTube right now and TikTok right now. Welcome if you've joined from either platform or even if you are watching the replay. Please hit the like button on YouTube and on TikTok. Make sure that you're tapping the screen on TikTok so that we can see those likes. Feel free throughout the live or even the replay to leave comments. If I see your comments or questions throughout the live, I'll try to respond as appropriate and we will get started today. So today we are talking about the facts or fast stats data for Fulton County. So if you've followed me for previous videos, you've seen that we've done this type of data for other counties, and we're going to do that as well for Fulton County, looking at a specific zip code in a specific city. Before we get started, let's get some announcements out of the way. Welcome, welcome, welcome on both platforms. Let's get some announcements out first. First announcement is today is the last day to register to vote if you are in the state of Georgia. So if you are not registered to vote or you have not checked your status for voter registration, make sure that you go to vote.gov, that's vote.gov, and check your status as well as go and register to vote. From vote.gov, you can not only see your status, but no matter what your state is or county is, you can make sure that you get to the right website and do the registration appropriately. For the state of Georgia, today is the last day, so make sure that you've done that. So that's our first announcement. Make sure that you're registered to vote. Voting is something that we all have access to as Americans, so let's make sure that we participate in that aspect of our freedom so that we can keep it. I won't talk about any candidates on this channel or any policies, but we do encourage that everyone votes. And we also don't discuss any candidates or policies in the comments. So please refrain from doing that. And if we see that, we will delete those comments. Okay. So welcome, welcome, welcome on TikTok. I see we have Tommy Carter and there's a user with a long number. Thank you for joining. Hello, 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 and welcome. So let's see some likes on YouTube and let's see some hearts on TikTok. If you're on TikTok, just to bring this to your attention, we are going to be sharing data live on the YouTube channel. So if you want to see that specific data, then you want to go to our profile, click the link in the bio and click the YouTube icon. It will take you directly to our YouTube channel where you can see the live and see the data we're discussing today. So we're going to move forward to the next announcement. The link in the bio is pretty much the next announcement. So in the link in the bio, you can do a lot of things. If you followed me previously or you saw our last live, you know that we had a discount code that we posted in our TikTok videos about how to get a discount for the Rent Reporters affiliate link. So we have in the link in the bio a Rent Reporters affiliate link. And the benefit of that is if you are renting currently and you want your on-time rental payments to count toward your credit score, then you need to click that link in the bio for Rent Reporters and get that started today. If you did not know, when you pay on-time rental payments, it does not automatically count towards your credit score. You have to get assistance for that to happen. And Rent Reporters is a company or organization that helps people to do that. And it's done for all three credit bureaus. So if that's something that's of interest to you, we did have a discount code up until yesterday that was on our TikTok videos, but you can still get on there today and get started. If credit is an issue for you for anything, make sure that you do that. And it can go back as far as 2 years. And some people have even reported longer as far as how far back they'll go to grab your on-time rental payments and use that to count towards your credit score. Because payments are a part of what your credit report will show, on-time payments. And if you're looking to buy a home One of the things that a lot of creditors, or let's say not creditors, but lenders will look for is if you are making on-time payments. There are some loan options that actually will discount you or knock you off of that loan option if you have late payments within a certain time frame. So on-time payments are a big deal, and make sure that if you're making on-time payments toward your lease, that you are making sure that that counts towards your credit. All right, so that is one of the links in the bio. Other links in the bio, you can contact us by our business line or by scheduling a consultation. The links are in the bio and they're also on the profile. So check out our profiles across all social media platforms. All of our social media links are also linked in the bio. You can click on the icons and start following us straight from there. And that's how you get connected with us to follow us. You never know when we're going to say something that's of interest to you or someone that you know. And if you're looking to buy or sell a home or even rent to own, you want to follow us because we're giving information on a daily or even weekly basis to make sure that you are educated about the home ownership process. So keep following us, keep checking with us. You never know when we'll say something that impacts you or someone you know. All right, so those are the major announcements. Today, we're going to talk about market data. We've been talking about market data for the previous 2 weeks. We talked about each county that we cover here at Dreams to Keys Realty. So we've already covered Gwinnett County by looking at Lawrenceville with a specific zip code. We've already covered DeKalb County by looking at Stone Mountain with a specific zip code. And today we're going to cover Fulton County, looking at Midtown Atlanta, of course, with a specific zip code. So if you are on TikTok and you want to see this data live, then you want to make sure that you go to the link in the bio and click the YouTube icon so that you can see this data live. Otherwise, you can check out the replay of that data once it is finalized on YouTube. All right, so let's get into our fast stats. Again, as I mentioned, this is for Midtown Atlanta, which is Fulton County. And I'm going to share my screen on YouTube so that you can see what it is that we're going to be discussing today. And this live will go until about noon, depending on the time that we finish up with this information. And usually that's about how long it takes to get through all of the data. All right, so hopefully you can see the data on YouTube. If you can't, leave a comment and say that you can't see it so that we can make some adjustments if necessary. But as you can see, if you're able to see it at this point, we're using the Fast Stats data from the First Multiple Listing Service, which is an MLS. And this is looking at Midtown Atlanta with the specific zip code of 30309. So this whole document, this whole discussion today will be about this zip code in Fulton County. All right. So now we're going to look at the different types of properties that we're going to discuss. So we're going to discuss residential detached and residential attached. So we're also going to look at comparing this month of this year to, not this month, August. We're going to look at August because that's what we looked at for the previous lives for the other counties. We looked at the last closed month. So when we looked at those other counties, we were still in September. So we didn't have a closed month just yet. So we're still going to continue that trend and look at August of 2023 versus August of 2024 within each property type. And then we're also going to compare the year to date for those time frames as well. So let's get started. Looking at the residential detached key metrics, looking at August of 2023 to 2024 for this zip code only, we saw 20 new listings in 2023, but only 12 in 2024, which looks at about a 40% dip in this month that we're analyzing for August 2024. So that may be something to note when we talk about inventory, when we see in the media conversations about there's not enough inventory, that may be something that may have affected this zip code. So let's keep going. Pending sales, we saw 3 in August of 2023, but 5 for August of 2024. So that's an increase of about 67% for the most recent month and year. So that's an improvement. Pending sales. Now let's look at closed sales. For August 2023, we saw 7. In August 2024, we saw 2. So even though we have more pending sales, the closed sales in that time frame did not reflect the same increase in percentage. And that could be because we close at different times. Maybe there's different reasons why a seller would need to close at a certain time, or a buyer would need to buy and close at a certain time. So sometimes the closed sales is kind of off-putting. You don't really know what all impacted that. There could have been some outliers that affect when a person would like to close. So that's that data for that. Now, days on market until sale, we talked about this in previous lives. We talked about the difference between days on sale versus total days on sale. And here we're looking at more of days on market. We're looking at more of total days on market versus just days on market. If you've ever heard the term days on market, or you're in a discussion with a real estate agent or realtor and the discussion involves days on market, ask for clarification. Days on market could mean the days on market with that brokerage or broker. So make sure that you're clarifying with them what they're talking about so that you get the full picture of what's going on with that property. So here we're looking at more of a total days on market discussion. Looking at August 2023, it was 56. August 2024, it was 50. Not much difference, maybe 11% drop. That isn't statistically significant. If you're someone that's looking very hard at days on market, that may be more significant to you. And because it's over 30 days for a lot of people, that may be significant in general. So that's something that you would want to know, especially if you're selling a property, how long properties are staying on the market until they're sold. So total days on market would be something that would be beneficial for you to know if you're a seller. All right, now looking at median sales price, we see $1.2 million was the median sales price for August 2023. Again, we're looking at Midtown Atlanta. So when we look at these numbers versus the numbers we looked at for other counties, there's a reason why those numbers are much higher. They're closer to Atlanta, they're in Atlanta, and there's so many things around it that draw up that sales price. So $1.2 million is the median sales price for August 2023, and it dropped a bit in August 2024. So we have $1,030,000 as the median sales price for August 2024. That's about a dip of 14.2%. So even though that is a drop for a lot of people, once you hit $1 million for a median sales price, that's still significant. So that's just something to note, that the market did drop when we compare those months. So that may give a trend or some type of impact of what's going on in that market. Average sales price, August 2023 was 1.6, about 1.6, almost $1.7 million. And the August 2024 average sales price was the same as the median sales price at $1,030,000, which looks at about 39% of a drop in the average sales price. So here we see that the difference is more significant when we look at the average versus the median. It's a larger drop, but the median and the average sales price are exactly the same. So that's something to also note. The median, if you're not familiar with what the median is, a median sales price is the middle point. So you take all of the numbers of all of the homes that were sold and you find the middle number, and that's the median sales price. The average sales price is when you take all of those numbers and divide them by the amount of numbers that you're looking at, and then you get that average. So the median and the average are the same in this case. Percent of list price received. We mentioned in previous slides that we want to see this number as close to 100%, because in that case, the home is listed correctly and purchased closer to the listing price. So at August 2023, we saw 99%, but August 2024, we saw 93.6%. So it's still in the 90s. That's not bad, but it is a drop of about 6% for August 2024. For inventory of homes for sale in August 2023, it was 27, but in August 2024, it was 31. So when we think about new listings versus inventory for sale, we saw that the new listings had dropped, but the inventory for sale is higher when we're comparing August 2023 to August 2024. So that means that there were some homes that were left over that may not have been new listings, but they didn't sell in the previous months. And that may bring some light to those closed sales and pending sales. All right, so we see more inventory from comparing these months for this zip code of 30309. Month supply of inventory, 3.9 for August 2023, and August of 2024 is 4.2, which is about an 8% increase when we look at August of 2024. So what does months of supply of inventory mean? So essentially, it's looking at how many months it would take for all of these homes to sell that are currently on the market at this time without any new homes being added to the market. So in August 2023, it would take 3.9 months, so about 4 months. But then by August 2024, it's 4.2, so slightly higher. So if you're looking to sell, that's something that you want to know, because you want to know how long you expect your home to possibly sit on the market. And looking at data and trends of the market and what it's saying will help you dictate if you have the right financial standing to continue to financially support that home until it is sold. So are you prepared, if you're living in this zip code and you want to sell a home in this zip code, to have your home sit on the market for at least 4 months before it's sold? So that's something that a seller would definitely want to know. Moving over to year to date, still looking at residential detached. We are looking at August through August 2023, and the new listings were 107. Through August 2024, it was 123. So we see more listings when we look at year-to-date data. And of course, this data is going to be higher in numbers because it's year-to-date data. So it's looking at when the year started up until that month ended. So we have more listings when we got through to August 2024. Pending sales, 57 through August 2023, but 60 through August 2024. Very similar, but it's about 5% increase for the through August 2024 year-to-date data. Now, closed sales, it was 54 through August 2023, but 59 through August 2024. Similar there, about a 9% increase for the year-to-date data through August 2024. Days on market until sale was 44 through August 2023, but 36 through August 2024. That's a bit of a drop for the data through August 2024 of about 18%. So we see, for just comparing the months, it was about a 10%, almost 11% decrease looking at August 2023 to August 2024. But when we look at the year-to-date data, we see that there's a bit of a larger percentage of a difference between the year-to-date through August 2023 and the year-to-date of through August 2024. So that may or may not make much difference for you. But what I noticed is that when we're looking at the month-to-month data, you might want to consider, if you're selling, that your home may be on the market in between somewhere from 2 to 4 months, looking at the month-to-month data. But when we look at the year-to-date data, we see that the time frame days on market until sale is much less. It's approaching more of that 1 month time frame. So there's some difference when we look at the month-to-month data and the year-to-date data that may leave you looking at 1 month all the way to maybe 4 months of expectation of a sale. Looking at days on market as well as month supply of inventory. Comparing those two numbers just gives you a range of maybe 1 to 4 months if you're looking to sell, to expect that sale within that time frame. And that's not to say that all homes sell within that time frame. It is a process. Listing, marketing, showings, open houses, all those things play a role. So this is just looking at the data itself and not really all the outliers that may be affecting this. And also I'll point out that when we look at these numbers do not account for seller concessions or any other arrangements made outside of the sales price. So when we look at these numbers, keep that in mind, because concessions are something that a seller can offer in the transaction to complete it, to make it more advantageous for the buyer. So keep that in mind when we discuss these numbers, that sellers concessions, down payment assistance, all of that is not factored into these numbers. Okay, so now we're going to look at the year-to-date median sales price, which was $1,224,500. By year-to-date of August 2024, it was $1,250,000. So the year-to-date shows us that the median sales price for this zip code in Fulton County took an increase by about 2%. When we looked at year to date, we saw a decrease of about 14%. So it's important to know what's going on at both periods of time, because there's things that are impacting the market more directly that you may see with month-to-month data. But when we see the year-to-date data, there are things that may be happening over time. For example, there may be some major construction that's going on in an area. Not saying that's the case for this zip code, but there could be different things that impact what causes fluctuation in the market. We've had some natural disasters impact different states, right? There could be things surrounding that impact a certain zip code. So keep that in mind, that month-to-month data may reflect more of the immediate concerns in that zip code, where the year-to-date data may go more over the long-term effects of things. So keep that in mind. Now, looking at the average sales price for year-to-date through August 2023, we see $1,517,620 for the average sales price. For the average sales price through August 2024, it was $1,472,271, which equates to about a 3% decrease for the most recent year-to-date data. So that's also a drop. We did see a drop when we looked at the month-to-month data for August, comparing 2023 and 2024, and that drop was more significant. But year-to-date, we are still seeing a drop with less significance. When we looked at the month-to-month data, it was a 39% drop. When we look at the year-to-date data, it's a 3% drop. So that goes back to what I was just saying about more immediate effects and more long-term effects. Year-to-date looks at more long-term effects as far as what we see in the data, but the immediate concerns that may have happened month-to-month, we'll see more readily with the month-to-month data. And the last column or last row for residential detached year-to-date is the percent of list price received. Like we said previously, we want to see it closer to 100%. Homes we want to see marketed and advertised correctly, and that makes it more appropriate when we're looking at the list price and sales price, how different they were. So we're looking at the percentage of list price received here in August. Year-to-date through August 2023, we saw 97%, and it increased by August 2024 year-to-date, where it was 97.6%. Not really statistically significant. That's only a 0.6% increase, but it is in the upper 90s, which is better than what we saw when we looked at the month-to-month data for August of this year and 2023. So based on this market alone, looking at this type of property alone, just thinking about if you did follow me and watch the other lives that we did regarding DeKalb and Gwinnett County, then you notice that the sales price here, median or average, is much higher in this zip code. So when people say, I want to live in Atlanta, we need to talk about where you're talking about living, because this is Atlanta, Midtown Atlanta. And maybe you might be referring to somewhere that's not really zoned or in the specific city of Atlanta. So when you say, I just want to live in Atlanta, or I just want to live near Atlanta, we got to talk about the zip code. We got to talk about the price point of course, when you talk to a realtor, you got to get pre-approved so we know what price point that fits you. And also, you may have a desire to live in a certain zip code, but if the price point doesn't match the zip code, we have to be realistic so that we're not putting ourselves in a position to be in a house poor scenario. We don't want to put any client, and at Dreams to Keys Realty, we will not be doing that. So make sure that before you go too gung ho on, or you're too invested in a certain zip code, that you make sure that you know your price point and you're realistic about that. So you're not offended if a realtor says this is just out of the price point that you qualify for with that lender. So at least $1 million in this zip code is what you would need, and really a little bit over $1 million for the median or average sales price as far as what we see for the month-to-month data. So if that's something that would stretch you too thin, this zip code would not be realistic for you. All right. Residential attached. And that's another thing. It matters the type of property. It matters what you're looking for. So residential detached is also like single family homes. Now we're going to look at residential attached, so your townhomes. And what you'll see with this is there is a statistically significant difference between looking at residential detached and residential attached data. It's very statistically significant and financially significant. And we've seen that with previous counties that we've reviewed. So here we're going to look at the same zip code, 30309, which is Midtown Atlanta in Fulton County. And let's go to residential attached key metrics, looking at month to month, August 2023 versus August 2024. First up is new listings, 71 and 23, 70 and 24. Not much difference there. Pending sales, 44 and 23, 35 and 24. There's some difference, about a 20% difference, but that doesn't say much as far as anything that would, in my mind, draw someone out of that market. So let's keep going. Closed sales, 42 and 23, 38 and 24. There's a bit of a difference, not as much as we saw with the pending sales. It's about a 10% difference. And we're seeing that with closing and pending sales, we're slightly less, comparing August 2024 back to August 2023. Let's move on to days on market until sale. We discussed what that means. It's 32 in both months, no difference. So days on market, you're looking at least a month, a little bit over a month for total days on market in this market for residential attached properties. Median sales price. For August 2023, we saw $363,450. By August 2024, $330,000. That's about a 9% dip. So we're seeing that there's a major difference already with the sales price for residential attached versus residential detached. If you've forgotten what we discussed with those prices for residential detached, I'll refresh your memory. The median sales price for August 2023 for residential detached was $1.2 million. For residential attached, the median sales price was $363,450 in August 2023. Same months, just different type of property, same zip codes. So it matters the type of property that you're looking for, your price point, and that can dictate the type of property that you can make an offer on realistically and have the backing you need financially. So if you're getting a certain, let's say you got a pre-approval letter from a lender and you have up to $400,000 of pre-approval, but you want to live in this zip code of 30309 in Midtown Atlanta, Fulton County, and you say you want a single family home. This data doesn't support that that's feasible for that pre-approval letter. So a realtor might come to you and show you this data. This is fast stats straight off the MLS, and say, based on your pre-approval and based on what you're desiring, the market does not show that that's feasible unless you change your property type that you desire. So if you want to go from single family to maybe a townhome, it's feasible to live in that zip code with your pre-approval and still meet the other desires that you have of living in this zip code. But to have a detached property with that pre-approval does not quite match. And that's a big difference. We're talking almost $500,000 to make up that difference. So we have to be realistic about what we want, what our price point is, and what zip codes make sense. So if you come to a realtor and say, I just want to live in this city, I just want to live in this zip code, and we present to you the data for that zip code, just be mindful that this is what the market is saying, not what the real estate agent is saying. This is from the MLS, or the multiple listing service, which is where we pull data where transactions have closed and even pending or listed. So we're pulling data from what's out there on the market. And if the market doesn't support it, we have to be realistic with you and tell you that it would not serve either one of us to let you go out thinking that you're going to buy a property that you really can't afford. And we don't want someone house poor going through bankruptcy or anything like that. So make sure that you are responsible and receptive for any information you receive about a market, that you don't get too emotionally attached to something that's unrealistic for you. All right, so going back to median sales price month to month for August 2023, we again saw $363,450, but August 2024, we saw $330,000, about a 9% decrease between those months. Average sale price is, or was, for August 2023, $500,693. For August 2024, it was $392,073, about a 22% decrease. So we were looking at just over $500,000 for the average sales price in August 2023 for residential attached. But by August 2024, it did not cross $400,000 as the average sales price. All right, so that's significant to me. I mean, if I'm someone that's looking to buy in that market, and like I mentioned in the example, we had a pre-approval in that example of $400,000, I could possibly be knocked out of the market in August 2023, but be right where I need to be in August 2024. So when we talk about inventory, when we talk about things being harder to buy, at least for what we're seeing here in that example that I gave, which is a hypothetical example, then it may be easier for someone to buy in this market versus last year in that same time period. So that's something to just think about. When you hear things in the media about it's so much harder, it's so much harder. Well, is it? If we're looking at this type of property and these data points, is it harder or is it easier? Because the numbers have come down. So let's keep that into consideration when we hear a lot of media attention around certain topics. This is another key point that I like to make, is that you have to talk to the experts in that field who can pull the data and describe it and explain it, because people that are just reporting news or reporting what they've heard may not be experts in that field, and they may not be constantly watching it, or they may not even be invested in your home ownership journey. So make sure that whomever you're talking to about real estate data and how the market is doing is someone that is invested or an expert in the market. Now, looking at percent of list price received, we see 98.5% for August 2023 and 98.3% for August 2024. Not much difference there, in the high 90s. That's very good. Looking at the inventory of homes for sale, we look at August 2023 and we see 129. Wait, let's go back up, because when we look at the inventory of homes for sale for the residential detached, as you can see up at the top, it was only 27. But for residential attached, it's significantly different at 129, and this is both for August 2023. Now, when we look at August 2024, it soared to 208 for residential attached. And when we look up above and see the residential detached number, it was only 31. So what we're seeing based on this data and this property type and for these amounts of time or these periods of time is that we saw more inventory for residential attached properties during this time in a more significant way than we did for residential detached properties. So if you were someone that was interested in a townhome in 30309, then a residential attached may be more readily available anyway, based on this data, than a residential detached property. This was a 61% increase with the residential attached inventory of homes for sale data. Now, looking at month supply of inventory, 3.1 for August 2023, 5 for August 2024. So there's a bit of a difference here that we didn't see for residential detached. We're looking at waiting a little bit longer to sell all the properties on the market than we did for the residential detached. So again, month supply of inventory means that we're looking at how long it will take to sell all of the properties that are on the market at that particular time with no additional properties being added. So for August 2023, it was 3.1 months, but August 2024, it was 5. So we're looking at a longer period of time before all of that inventory is sold. So even though it looks like our pending sales and closed sales and days on market might be more beneficial here with the residential attached and residential detached, for those that are on the market, you may have a longer window of time before your home could possibly be sold. It could range from 1 to 5 months based on this data. And every property is different, like we said before. There's marketing, there's listing, there's advertising, there's showings, there's open houses. There's so many things that affect it. There's seller concessions, there's down payments, assistance. There's things that aren't even factored in here that could be outliers that affect how quickly or how long it takes for a home to sell. So there's so many things that impact the selling of a home, but this is just some data that can help you if you are looking to buy or sell, to make some realistic decisions about the type of property, if this market fits your desires. And this is just based off of numbers. You may have other desires, such as looking at a particular school district or making sure your school is graded within a certain grade level or rating. So there's so many things to think about that aren't in this data, but based on this, it looks like if you were someone who doesn't have $1 million to purchase a property or is not going to get that type of financing to purchase a property, that maybe residential attached might be more feasible for you if you really desire to live in this market. Year to date, through August 2023, new listings were 529. Through August 2024, it was 678. That was about a 28% increase in new listings. For pending sales, 369 through August 2023, 367 through August 2024. Very similar there. Closed sales through August 2023, 355 through August 2024, 356. Very close there. Days on market until sale through August 2023, 35 through August 2024, 40. Not much difference there either, but it is a 14% increase when we look at the data through August 2024. So if you're looking to compare the months and the year-to-date data, you can see that the days on market until sale ranges from just over 1 month to almost 1.5 months. Now, median sales price through August 2023 is $365,000. Through August 2024 is $389,000. So we see about a 7% increase with the median sales price. Again, these numbers are much lower than when we looked at residential detached. So it does matter what property type that you are looking to purchase and your pre-approval or price point. Now, when we look at the average sales price, it's slightly higher here than it was for the median sales price year to date through August 2023. It was $471,832, whereas year to date through August 2024, it was $497,709. So the year to date data is showing an increase, whereas the month to month data was showing a decrease when we compared 2023 to 2024. So that's something to note. Again, there could be immediate effects that are shown more so with the month to month data, and more long-term effects could be shown with the year to date data. Percent of list price received, 98.9% was the percentage through August 2023. Through August 2024, 98.1%. A bit of a drop, not even 1%, but they both are in the upper 90s and approaching 100 or close to 100%. So that is the data for that. Now we are going to look at some graphs. So if you can remember what happened, what we talked about with the residential detached, our price points were much higher. They were astronomically higher, or let's just say about 2 times or so higher than the residential attached properties were. So we're going to look at this first graph over to the left that I'm circling with my arrow. This graph is a median sales price graph of residential detached properties, which is the first set of data that we reviewed. There is a gray line at the bottom that shows the all MLS data, and there is a green line that shows just the zip code that we talked about this morning. Now, this data is looking at a rolling 12-month calculation. So it looks at the current month as well as the 11 months prior. So the month that we've been discussing all morning is August 2024, and we've been comparing that to August 2023 month to month, as well as looking at year-to-date data through August 2023 and August 2024. So this data is going to end up until August 2024. Now, at the bottom, you can see that the horizontal line is showing years. It's showing it's starting at January 2020, January 2014, and it rolls all the way to January 2024. So it's starting with a 10-year time frame, and it's comparing all of that with a rolling 12-month calculation. So let's see where we started. In January of 2014, the all MLS data line is just up under $200,000. This again is for residential detached properties, which could be a single family home. Now, if we go to our zip code, it is just at or above $600,000 in January of 2014. So already we see that there is a significant difference in this graph of illustrating where we're even starting from. This is a more expensive, as far as looking at sales price and median sales price, this market is more expensive than all the MLS data that we can pull from with this first multiple listing service. And as you can see, it kind of stays that way. It stays higher than everything else on the MLS. I'm sorry, not everything else, but when we compare all MLS data together, it's staying much, much higher. So we see there are some peaks. So we cross the $800,000 point even before we reach 2016, just right after 2015. And we spike within that time. We drop a little bit back under $800,000 right before approaching 2016. Now let's go to, and I'm going to move over because there's, fluctuation in the market, but I'm going to move over to where we all kind of thought again about the market and how homes were selling or not selling. We thought about that a little bit closer as we approached 2020. And so we see in 2020 that even though it had already spiked and it looked like it might be approaching the $1 million median sales price at that point, by 2020, after January or so, it dropped right back down to the $800,000 mark. And it took some time. It kind of plateaued just before 2021, just hovering a little bit over the $800,000 mark. And then it slowly started to peak back up, and it took much of an increase right before January of 2022, and it spiked right after 2022. I'm guessing that could have been maybe March or so because it's very close to the January line. And it's doing almost like a landscape, almost looking like mountains or hills with this graph. So by January of 2024, it peaks again at just about $1.2 million, which is what we saw in this data. That is where the median sales price hit for August. Now, when we look at the all MLS, it's barely doing anything in comparison. It hit the $400,000 mark just as we're looking at the 2024 data. Up until then, it was doing kind of a slow, steady incline. It took a bit of a curve right after 2020, but the market here is statistically and visually significant compared to the all MLS data. Now, when we look at the residential attached data, which is the next graph over here on the right, same type of concept, same rolling 12-month calculation, all of that. The gray line is, of course, the all MLS data. The green line is the zip code that we're looking at, 30309. And again, this is residential attached on this side. So that could be like your townhome. And so when we look at the all MLS data starting in January of 2014, we see that it had not yet crossed $150,000 for the all MLS. And where we look at the zip code of 30309, it is already above the $200,000 mark. So there's already a difference there of at least $50,000. And then once we go to 2018, we see that the all MLS line has hit the $200,000 mark, and the zip code of 30309 is just in the middle of the $250,000 and $300,000 point. Now, when we get to 2020, we see that the all MLS data is in between the $200,000 and $250,000 mark, whereas the zip code we're referring to here is just over the $300,000 mark. So we see that they're kind of different. About the difference is about $50,000 between the all MLS and the zip code for residential attached. They get a bit closer as we approach January 2022, where we see that the all MLS data is just up under the $300,000 mark, and the zip code we're referring to had previously had a dip approaching January 2022, but then took to an incline again, where it's in the middle of the $300,000 and the $350,000 point. Both MLS, both the all MLS and the zip code took a bit of a incline, more visually noticeable for this zip code around the latter part of 2022, where the all MLS data is a little bit over the $300,000 mark, but the zip code is over the $350,000 mark, approaching the middle point. Now that zip code, the zip code 30309, has dropped at that point right after 2023, or in the midst of 2023, where it starts to decline and go more toward the $350,000 point. And the all MLS data is still inclining on an incline, and it is in the middle of the $300,000 and the $350,000 point. So as we round out this data, we see at the point that it ends, the all MLS data is approaching the $350,000 mark, and the zip code of 30309 is looking like it could make another one of those dips, but we'll have to see how that data looks moving forward. But it's not yet at the point of the $400,000 mark. So just comparing the graphs. And again, if you're on TikTok, we are looking at data live on the YouTube channel. So if you want to see that, you can make sure that you go to our profile, click the link in the bio, click the YouTube icon, and go straight to our live. And you can also check out the replay if the live has ended. But just looking at this data, the zip code here has looked like for this time frame, this 10-year time frame that we're looking at, it stayed above the all MLS data across the board, regardless of property type. But The difference is more significant with the residential detached, and it seems like it's less significant with the residential attached. And that's just speaking on looking at the graphs and comparing the differences of where the price points, median price points are even starting and how they're flowing throughout that 10-year graph depiction. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So now, hopefully, if you are looking at this market, you are aware more of where you might fit and what property type might be best for you based on what we just reviewed this morning. And this is August data because we still have to get data through September. People close all different days of the month. And we want to make sure that all of that data is calculated and added into the fast stats that we pull from the first multiple listing service before we discuss them. And that usually takes some time to be pulled from everywhere, all the counties in Georgia, all the cities, all of the paperwork being filed. So that's why we stayed looking at August before we jump to September to compare any data. But if you want to see data in the future, you have to follow us. You have to keep following our pages like TikTok and YouTube so that you don't miss out on any information. Well, I hope that you really enjoyed the information that we were discussing this morning and that you like it. Let's see some hearts on TikTok and likes on YouTube. Now, that was the primary goal, and we're just about ready to wrap everything up. If you have any questions, please leave them below. I will answer your questions live as best as I can. But if you have any questions after the live or on the replay, make sure to leave them in the comments as well, and we will address them as we get to them, reviewing those comments. And as I mentioned before, the link in the bio has so many benefits. You can schedule a consultation with me if you are looking to purchase a property or sell a property in Gwinnett, Fulton, or DeKalb counties of Georgia. I am Jalon Strong, the Essential Millennial Realtor of Dreams to Keys Realty, and I'm a licensed Georgia Realtor. So if you're looking to purchase or sell a property or even rent to own a property in those counties, make sure that you go to the link in the bio and that you click the tab that says Let's Talk, schedule a consultation with me, and let's get started. You can also call our business line, which you can find the number linked in our bio, or you can find it in the link in the bio, and contact us for further assistance to buy, sell, or rent to own a property. Rent to own is also called a lease option. So if any of that is of interest to you, whether you are in our county or not, or in our market or not, we would be happy to refer you to an agent in your area that would be best to complete that process with you, to help you through the process, to guide you through how to get started with them and all of those things. We do that every day, all day. So make sure that if you're calling, that you leave a voicemail if you're not able to reach us, but you can call or text our business line and we will respond with the appropriate steps. The best way to get one-on-one time with me is to schedule a consultation. So make sure that you do that by going to the link in the bio and clicking that Let's Talk tab so that you get scheduled. All right, so we're going to wrap things up on TikTok. It's about to kick me off, but it's about noon, and that's when we said that we were going to end. So I don't see any questions just yet, but if you have any, leave them in the comments and we will get to them as soon as we can. But we're going to leave this live now. Make sure that you click the link in the bio, save our link to your browser so that as things get updated, we change that link all the time. We make updates to it. We add affiliate links and what have you. So if you need any assistance with anything that affects your credit or your journey toward home ownership, you want to click the link in the bio, save it to your browser so you can keep referring to it whenever you need assistance. But I'm Jalon Strong, the Essential Millennial Realtor and the Realtor of Dreams to Keys Realty. I will see you in the next live. Hopefully we'll have a live next week, but if you follow us, you will stay up to date when our live is scheduled. I'll see you next time.